On guys, Liam here, wrapping up round 2 of the NRL, and what a round of footy it was, except for today. Today was pretty bad, not going to lie, but there was some crazy games and it was so much fun. Had an awesome weekend of just watching footy and drinking beers. It was awesome. So in this video, guys, I'll just go over wins and losses, obviously, injuries, suspensions, and just how my breakdown of the games and how teams can sort of, project how they're going to go moving forward and stuff like that. If you're not subscribed already, smash that subscribe button, guys. That would mean a lot. And let's get into just the wins and losses first. All right, so Panthers did the Bunnies. Sharks beat the Parramatta Eels. Pretty good game. That was fun to watch, that one. This was a cracker as well. Broncos versus Cowboys. I will go into each of these games, guys, in more depth, obviously. Then we got to Roosters defeating the Auckland Warriors. They haven't been the Auckland Warriors in a minute. Dolphins, damn, who can stop them? Beat the Raiders. Doggies thumped Melbourne Storm. We had the Knights beating the West Tigers, and it says the first half here still, but the St George Illawarra. I might have to refresh this. I must have loaded that page a while ago. So George Illawarra beat the Titans, and yeah, that was hard to watch. And we had Manly having the bye. So if we check the ladder real quick now, Broncos and Dolphins. Dolphins are on top, man. Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop Wayne Bennett's Dolphins here, man? But Dolphins and Broncos, the only two teams that are 2-0. Cracking start for the Queensland teams, but just to show you how tight everything is, these teams here who haven't won games, look at their for and against. West Tigers, even though they've been pretty average, they've only lost both games by a total of 14 points. Eels by 8, Raiders by 7. There's not the for these they've been close games. It's been really even. Someone dropped a comment on one of my TikTok videos saying this is going to be the evenest comp of the year, and man, I think might be right. It's normally by round 2 you can sort of be like, all right, those guys are going to suck, and they're not. But I really don't think the Raiders are going to suck this year. I don't think the Eels are going to suck this year. Obviously don't think the Cowboys are going to suck this year, and Storm, and a lot of the teams that probably should or will finish in the 8 are way down here. So it's going to be an even comp. And then we've got Titans, Sea Eagles, Broncos, Dolphins up the top. It's crazy. Actually, Broncos are a 100% a top 8 team on paper, but we'll have to wait and see how the game played. How crazy is this? I just did a TikTok video on this. So Dolphins next week have the Newcastle Knights, who I think they will beat. I'll go over that actual game, but Newcastle are going to be without a few players. Broncos have St George, should get the win there. Then they're playing each other at Suncorp Stadium. Both teams could be undefeated, playing for the first time. Battle of Brizzy. I said I might have to even go to that game. It's pretty hard to get me to a footy game. I'd much prefer watching it at home, but damn, that would be worth a look. Could be witnessing history. All right, let's go first to the Panthers versus Rabbitohs. Now, this scoreline 100% does not reflect how this game went. Panthers were on top for 68 minutes. It was 16-0. And Panthers had about 3 tries disallowed, bombed a couple tries, and this could have been 36-0. This was an absolute hiding. But Bunnies sort of, they hung around and they were dangerous in the last few minutes of the game. So if we have a look at the breakdown or the team stats, possession, as you can see, heavily weighted here. Plenty more time in possession for Penrith. Completion rate, look at this, see what I mean? You'll see when we get into these stats that this was really Penrith's game. They completely dominated. Really poor completion rate. Look at these run meters. Look how many more run meters they had. They were just punching through the middle, tearing up the Rabbitohs. I had money on the Panthers to win this one, and I said they're going to be too soft in the middle, they're going to get pumped through the middle, and I could not have been more right. Didn't get much else right on the weekend though, so I'm not bragging. Trust me, I'm not bragging. Look at the post-contact meters, plenty more there, more line breaks, more tackle breaks. Look at that, 42 to 25 average distance of sets. That's actually, I dare say, this would have been much different up until about the 70th minute. Like I said, Bunnies made a pretty big sort of comeback and sort of started throwing the ball around like crazy and made a ton of metres in the last sort of 10 minutes. But this would have been a big discrepancy up until about the 65th minute. Kick return metres, look at this. Latrell was under the pump all night. Play the ball at speed, that's a little bit closer than I would have thought, but like I said, Penrith won this ruck easy. Offloads here, I reckon 10 of these 11 offloads would have come in the last 10 minutes of the game. They were just throwing the ball around, doing stuff like that, and it was just that last minute, just throw the ball around sort of footy, and they come up with a couple of tries doing it. So it made it a game. It was good to watch. Good fun here, but yeah, kicking metres. Cleary was just flawless, absolutely amazing. Effective tackles, nice and high. That's always good. Good two quality teams. But look at this. Look at the missed tackles from the Rabbitohs. Like I said, they did get pumped in this game. It was bad. Negative plays. Look at this. 13 penalties conceded. 7. Not too bad, but. And so as you can see from the stats here, it was definitely a bit more of a... I said in my TikTok video, I said this was like a close hiding, if that makes sense. So if we have a look at player stats, most tackles, Fisher Harris was amazing. Dan Cook was as good as ever. This dude here, I really like him. He's good. He's a real good replacement for what's his name? I can't remember the winger's name that's out. But yeah, it was a really good game. Really, really entertaining. Play performances. Latrell Mitchell was, I didn't even know he was on the park till about the 68th minute. Then he really come to life. He was really, really good in there. Alex Johnson was great. I didn't mind what Tass did. Campbell Graham was probably the best on the park for the Bunnies. He was incredible. Really, really good. Penrith's back five were just solid. Dylan Edwards was great, really solid. Luai was in there. He was getting his hands dirty. He played pretty damn good. Cleary was good as ever. Cody Walker, I was pretty disappointed with him. When he just played one of those games where he was just all emotional, and he did an error because he tried to shove someone away and he dropped the ball and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a pretty poor performance. And I really do think Bunny's forward pack got completely overwhelmed here. The Panthers were much, much better. Isaiah Yeo was brilliant. Liam Martin was brilliant. And the bench as well. Sonny Luke came on, got knocked out early, and then and also so did Mitch Kenny. So both the hookers had to go off for HIAs, but both got cleared. But it did sort of mess up their rotations a little bit. But cracking game. It was really good to watch. Good fun to watch. It was such a good game to kick off the round. Sharkies Parramatta. This was an awesome game, and this was a 50-50 game. Neither team was perfect. Neither team, was at full strength, and it was just even. And when the game finished, Sharkies happened to be on top. Parramatta got out early. Clint Gutherson, I think this was a big change, and Clint Gutherson got bumped. It wasn't even hard and had to go off for HIA. And Sharks went bang bang, scored 2 quick tries. Clint's cover defence and fullback positional play is really good, and that's where they scored. It was, I can't remember who replaced him, but he got caught out a couple of times. And honestly, I think Parramatta probably could have got on top here if Sharks can get those 2 tries back real quick, because Parramatta were rolling at the start. But this is one of those games where if the game just went forever, there just would have been a million lead changes, and it just would have kept going back and forth. Parramatta's completion rate's putrid, but Sharkies wasn't a whole heap better. But you know what I mean? It's boring, and we hate it when the players give those post-game interviews and I said, we're just going to complete our sets. Complete more sets, you normally win. It sucks, but it's true. Run meters, pretty damn close. Post-contact meters, I thought Parramatta were really good there. Line breaks, Parramatta got them a little bit, and but average set distance was good. Parramatta definitely will win in the ruck, faster play the balls. I thought this would be a little faster than that, but what do you do? Parramatta are offloading good. It was that they definitely won that department. And yeah, it was. Thought Mitch Moses and Dylan Brown were better, but still far from perfect. And yeah, it was just good. This was just a fun game to watch. It was really, really good. Effective tackles, pretty even. Missed tackles, look at this, man. Too many missed tackles. Both teams' defense was way off. And And we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it was just Parramatta really shot themselves in the foot. I actually thought they were slightly better, but just you're not gonna 15 errors. You're not gonna win many games, sort of thing. But have a look at the player stats here. Jermaine Hopgood. This is why I'm not worried about Parramatta at all. In fact, I'm thinking if they lose next week, which I'm thinking they might, they've got the Sea Eagles. I'm thinking about putting some money on them to make the 8 because obviously the price will blow out. With Jermaine Hopgood playing the way he's playing, he's just so damn good. It's a Junior Paulo RCG in the front row, and then we have Madison on one edge, Sean Lane on the other when they come back from their suspensions and injuries, which I think they're both back round 4. Yeah, it should be pretty crazy. But look at this, Dylan Brown, most run meters for Parramatta, 95. Will Kennedy was brilliant. Really like him. He's super underrated fullback. And most fantasy points, Hopgood. He was just, his offload is just, like any player can offload, but he does the best. Like he only does it when he should. And they're perfect. I cannot believe how good he is. Like I'm just like, absolutely cannot believe it. I think Will Kennedy probably got the wood on Clint Gutherson here. He didn't do anything wrong, but it was just one of those games where he couldn't get super involved. Mika Sivo scored a try. He was good. Katoa was good. Ramian was okay. Talakai wasn't like one of his crazy barnstorming games. But not too bad. Militalo was good coming out of trouble. Moylan, okay. But this kid here, this Braden Trindle, sorry, he's incredible. Like he's just, I actually can't believe how good he is. Like he's absolutely amazing. Team lists. Yeah, he's something special. Like I can't believe he's their backup number 7. Like he's a straight up first choice number 7 in the game. He is amazing. Rudolph was good. Blake Bailey was pretty good. Ueli, great. Nikore, don't know how they pronounce his name now, but he was brilliant as well. And Dale Finucane just doing what Dale Finucane does. But yeah, brilliant. Wonga Blake was pretty quiet. Bradley Simonson was all right. Moses, like the halves are okay, but they've got some work to do, man. Way more impressed with Josh Hodgson this week. I thought he was a lot better. These two props are just week in, week out, do their thing, absolutely solid. Bryce Cartwright, I thought that was one of the best games I've seen him play in a long time. Didn't do anything amazing, but just ran hard lines, didn't offload stupidly, got a couple good offloads though. And this dude here, this Matt Dory, I like him, but I think definitely put Matto on that edge when he's ready to come back, when he's back from his suspension and he would be like a gun, like back up to one of those guys, come on, inject himself a bit, but not out of place at all. I actually thought he was really good. And Jermaine Hopgood, like I said, just he's incredible. I was so blown away how good they were, but yeah, he's something else. But yeah, Sharkies and Para, they've got a bit to work on, and but I dare say both these teams are going to come pretty good by the end of the year. Broncos, Cowboys. I'm just going to say it now. This was the best performance I've seen in the Broncos this decade. And I said this on my TikTok, and people were like, they've made bigger comebacks before. I know they have, but this was the most impressive one for me. They're playing a really good quality team that was up for it. And they got down early. They just put their heads down and just started battering away, ground back into it, and then just blasted. It was really, really good things, really good to watch. And I said it before, and I said this before, when I was talking about Broncos, I said they'll make the 8 if their back 5 doesn't make errors, which last year they had, I know Reece Walsh was a Warrior, but let's just say he was a Bronco. They had 4 players in the top 6 leading errors. So last night they were perfect. Reece Walsh was perfect. Corey Oates was perfect until he got his jaw broken. And yeah, it was just, Selwyn Cobbo was perfect, and yeah, they were really, really good. Broncos really did dominate this game. This is another one where the score probably didn't quite reflect it, probably because Cowboys got out to a little early lead, so obviously, but was it 12-0? And then Broncos just try, and really, really good. Both teams completed well. Broncos plenty more time in possession. But look at this. Look at these run meters. They absolutely blasted them through the middle. I actually really like how they have Tom Flegler off the bench. I think he's and Payne Haas, he can come on and provide that sort of second punch, coming off the bench. So I actually really like that. I think that's the way to go, because he can come on, he can replace either prop, and you're not going to lose anything. And if you keep him and Payne Haas on the field at the same time, because Payne Haas can play big minutes, solid. But look at that, nearly an extra 400 running metres. Post-contact meters blasted them. Line breaks, not crazy. Tackle breaks, though, goddamn, absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. As you can see, killed him in the ruck. Way fast to play the ball speed, guys. Absolutely crazy. And then look at these offloads. They're just offloading at will. Just keeping the Cowboys' defensive line staggered. Really good to watch. Effective tackles. Look at that. Absolutely, look at that. Look how many more tackles. Oh, not a huge amount more tackles. I thought that would have been a bigger discrepancy, but... And then, look at that. How many times do you see the Cowboys miss 42 tackles? Crazy. Ineffective tackles, 18. Damn. And Broncos weren't perfect. Like I said, 10 errors to 10 errors. But Broncos, like I said at the start, they were pretty bad. They weren't bad. Cowboys were just being really good and forcing the errors and stuff like that. So, really, really impressive from the Broncos. Really impressive. Most tackles, my brother, Kurt Catewell, solid. Thought Herbie was amazing. Look at that, 244 running metres for a centre. How good. Tamalolo was probably the best of the Cowboys. They had to bring him back on early because he had a little rest and they just started getting pumped through the middle. Most line breaks, Corey Oates, and then went off with a broken jaw, and it's looking like he's going to be out for 8 weeks, guys. So, however, their replacement was, what's his name, Corey Jensen, I think so. He's going to be. He was real good. He was solid. Not quite on Corey Oates' level, but solid. And then Pat Carrigan always leading the fantasy. Solid. All right, so we'll just go through the players. Scotty Drinkwater was the one that broke Corey Oates' jaw, and it was a shoulder charge. I believe he's been charged and looking at 3 to 4 weeks, depending whether he tries to defend it and stuff like that. But big loss for them, and that'll be tough to replace. I bet they wish they still had Hammer now, because he killed it with the Dolphins. He was something else, man. Reece Walsh was amazing. I had a lot of people messaging me saying how great Reece Walsh was, and this is the best game he's ever played. Listen up for a minute. Reece Walsh plays like this all the time. Not all the time, sometimes. His problem's always been consistency. I heard people saying he's got to be in Origin this year. Let's just give him 5 or 6 games, because he can come out next week and put down 5 bombs. He is patchy. But you saw what he can do, man. He was brilliant. He absolutely he destroyed Drinkwater. He was so much better than Drinkwater. Corey Oates was good while he was on. Tony Staggs, I thought that was the best game he's had in a while. Herbie Farnsworth, amazing. Selwyn Cobbo, good, solid. Didn't get a whole heap of didn't get a lot of opportunities. Pardon me. Ezra Mann was sick in defence and offence, absolutely amazing. Adam Reynolds. I reckon Adam Reynolds is probably the best wet weather half in the game. Like, he's brilliant in the wet. He's so damn good, man. He's the best wet weather half in the game, I'm telling you. Corey Jensen, solid. Billy Walters was okay. Payne Haas had another brilliant game. One thing I love, anyone that's followed my TikTok and stuff for a while knows I used to give Payne Haas a bit of hard time. It was because I used to sort of rip on him, because he'd sort of lumber up, hit the line, turn, and just walk sideways. And it looks so good in the stats, and everyone's like, no one can tackle him. He's and he just and I kept saying they're like pointless dumb meters, and it's not good. And we'll compare this, and I'll explain why. Reuben Cotter's probably my favourite prop in the game at the moment. When you do that, you run up, the defensive line's set. They know you've been tackled. They're just sitting there waiting, and the next play, you just run into a brick wall, because they've got a fully set line. And you know what I mean? Like, it's pointless. It looks great on Payne Haas's stat sheet, but it's rubbish. The last 2 games, he's been hitting the line, finding his front, getting up and playing the ball quickly. So much better. So much better from Payne. It was really, really good to watch. Kate Wells, again, I was really disappointed with him last year, my brother. he was terrible. But this last 2 games he's been really good. Jordan Ricky, been a bit hard on him as well. He's probably the best game I've seen him play. Still not sold on him or anything like that, but he was better. Carrigan, what else can you say? He's solid. Really, really good. And Corey Pates came on, was really good as well. So Jesse Arthurs is the winger, I forgot before. So Jesse Arthurs was able to come in because it was a foul play head injury, and he did a really good job replacing Corey Oates. So he'll be coming in for Corey Oates and for a while, and I don't think you guys, you Broncos fans, should worry because I think you're in good hands. He's a real good backup. Solid player. Roosters, Wars. My Wars, I was hoping they'd get up. I'll get into the Roosters in a minute, but we'll go over the team stuff first. But I'm real worried about them, hey? Really worried. Alright, so completion rate was actually pretty good. But look, so Roosters won, Wars lost. I know you look at that. Warriors were the better team. Not as far as completion rates go, not as far as a lot of technical things go, but Warriors were on top of this game for most of it. They looked the better team the whole time. They were just a bit unlucky because their completion rates weren't great either. They gave away dumb penalties. When they gave the ball, but they gave it back in bad positions. When they made an error, it was in a bad position. Sometimes you can make an error. If you make an error while you're attacking right on the opposition's, 10, it doesn't really matter, right? It's an error. It's not good, but it's like they were making bad errors in bad places, so that's what really hurt them. And Roosters, man, I'll get into them when I go over the players, but all run meters, that Roosters were pretty good here. Post contact solid, line breaks pretty even, tackle breaks, they got them there too, but not by much. But yeah, average distance set. That actually surprises me. I thought I saw the Warriors rolling through a little bit more, but as you can see here, they were definitely slower to play the ball. And like I said, I did believe the Warriors were winning the ruck a bit. It was tough, man. And by the way, Roosters have just bought Nathan Brown from Parramatta because they're worried about their middle, and it was weak. It was weak. Everyone was saying Roosters are going to just play through the middle and blast through people. They're not blasting anyone the way they're constructed. Matt Lodge was out, obviously. Jared Reed-Hargraves was out. But Lindsay Collins isn't a blaster. He's a good player, but he's not a blaster. And I was not overly impressed. Give me a minute, my throat's... Pepsi Max, nectar of the gods. Offloads even. Kicked a fuse. What else we got? Effective tackles, both pretty good. Tackles made, missed tackles, 23. See what I mean? Just a few missed tackles here, errors. It's just where they lost it. Penalties conceded. If they tidy this up just a little bit, they'd probably win this game by 12. Just the way it was, man. Let's have a look at the player stats. Nat Butcher was okay, but nothing crazy. Su'ali'i was real good, but got sighted and dog shot someone, and he's probably going to be missing a few weeks. So they're going to be without him as well, without Lodge. Not looking good. Marcelo Montoya, my new favourite player. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He ran at what's his name? Brandon Smith. Absolutely flatlined him. I think he shattered his ribs. Brandon Smith went off, got needled. That painkiller needled, and still couldn't come back on. He's built like granite and runs. He reminds me of Marty Vadavai. He's just granite, and I would hate to be tackling him. Seriously. Seriously. All right, let's have a look through the team list. Teddy was good as always, but nothing crazy. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'll just leave that for now. Tupou was solid. Su'ali'i was solid when he wasn't hitting people in the back. Joey Manu tried to get himself as involved as much as he possibly could. Wasn't great. Jackson Paulo was average. Luke Keary was pretty good. Sam Walker was okay. Lindsay Collins stood up, but he's just... I don't know. I don't think if he's your best prop or your best, sort of front rower, I think he might be in a little bit of trouble. Brandon Smith got taken off. As mentioned, he got crunched about 20 minutes into the game, and he tried to play on but couldn't. Fletcher Baker, he was okay, but just I don't think he's built for that front row sort of position. And yeah, we'll have to see. Egan Butcher, he was okay. He got smacked early, smacked in the head, and then Nat Butcher was solid as well. The bench was pretty good. Jake Turpin came on for Brandon Smith and was not too bad. But for me, guys, it was Sean Johnson. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on Sean Johnson. I just don't think he is what he used to be. He's lost that tiny bit of step. His kick choices were poor. Fanil Blake was incredible. He's just a beast. Wade Egan was good. Mitchell Barnett was real good. I actually really liked him. He was solid. Tohu Harris was really good. Really liked Tohu Harris, and I really liked Dylan Walker coming off the bench. And Bunty, always good. Josh Curran, I really liked what he did coming off the bench, and he really started to turn the game, but ended up getting injured as well. So not good. He looked like a hip flexory sort of issue. That could be an issue. But Warriors just need to tidy up a little bit, and they'll be on the money. But for me, what I'm really worried about the Roosters is when they don't have Victor Adley on the field when he's not playing, their middle just looks soft and soft in defense and disorganised in offense. Like, he does so much ball playing. He's a first receiver a lot. I don't know if they can win games without Victor Adley. I mean, obviously they can beat some teams, but yeah, if he's out next week against the Bunnies, I'm putting a lot of money on the Bunnies. Like, he was, yeah. I don't like what they do. I don't like this team without Victor Adley in it. I really don't. Massive warning signs. It's it's sort of complete opposite to Parramatta. Like I said, I'm not, even though they've lost 2 games, Roosters have won a game and lost one. I just feel like Parramatta have a lot coming back, and it's going to really tighten up. Whereas Roosters, I just feel like they could fall to pieces real quick, real quick. What a good game! How good! Dolphins versus Raiders. Now this game here, Raiders were better. It was pouring rain up there in Redcliffe. They had more opportunities, more good ball. They were a better team for most of it, but they just couldn't. Their decision-making on play 5 was poor. I think the Raiders are the worst decision-making team in the comp. Great forward pack. Got a lot of good, they've got Jackie Whiten. I love Jackie Whiten. He's probably a top 5 favourite player for me, but I just don't like the decisions he makes all the time. Like, it's just, it's like he's got a real bad sense for the game. Like, go back and watch that game and just be like, the whole time you're like, dude, you've got all the ball. Like, what are you doing? Like, it was so hard to watch. Like, this honestly should have been 32-10 to Raiders. Like, he just dead set. But the thing was, he scored a try. He was brilliant as well. So it's so hard. He did so many brilliant things. But I almost think Jackie White and, there's position for every player, right? So, you got your fullbacks number 1, your wingers number 2, your centers number 3, blah, blah, blah. I almost feel like Jack White shouldn't have a position. Like, it's like basketball. They call it positionless basketball now. Like, it used to be point guard was small guy, shooting guard was taller and a good shooting, small, and center was your big guy that just, rebounded and posted up. I feel like Jack White shouldn't be decision-making 6. I feel like he should just be on the field doing whatever he wants, and the decision-making and I think that, I just, like, almost like, when a number 14, like, he's too good to just come off the bench, obviously, but when a number 14 comes on and he just does whatever and he's just there to impact the game, I just feel like that's him. Like, sort of, I said it before, say it again. I've just watched Raiders be on top of so many teams over the last year or two and lose because Jack Whiten just made a poor decision. But at the same time, he's probably been the best player on the park. It's so frustrating. I'd hate to be a Raiders fan. It'd piss me off. Look, and you'll see what I see in a minute. They won possession. That's so much more time in possession. They completed the ball better. They ran for more. They had more runs. They had only just more run meters. A lot of that would have been, a lot of this would have been made up towards the end when Hamiso did some crazy stuff, which I'll get into. They did lose the post-contact meters, but I'm sure they were winning this most of the game. They had more line breaks. They had more tackle breaks. Average distance was higher. They should have won this. Faster play the ball speed. Offloads, more offloads. They won everything. They had better efficient tackles. It's not like they were either good on... They were better on both sides. They had less missed tackles. You get what I'm... So now what I said should make more sense. They were a better team. It was just the poor decision making from Jack White, and it was just so hard to watch. Same amount of errors, penalties conceded. They must a couple of them at the end. But yeah, it was just so hard to watch, man. Dolphins had 2 sin bins, and you still lost the game, man. What are you doing? Player stats: Jeremy Marshall-King was brilliant, got sin binned. He was really, really good. I really liked Harawira Naira as well. He played really good. Most run meters, the GOAT, Nichols. Absolute GOAT. And that was such a good performance from him. Most line breaks, Hamaso. Kotrick was solid too. I really liked Tom Gilbert. He was really, really good. Really, really liked him. Hamaso. Let's talk about him for a minute. This was one of the best performances I've seen from a fullback ever. Straight up. His positional play was Billy Slaterish. He was so potent on attack. He was always... for a guy that's played a handful of games at fullback, more as a replacement than anything, like I said before, I bet I mean, they couldn't fit him in his team anyway, but I bet the Cowboys wish they still had him to replace Drinkwater for a little while. He was sensational. I cannot give this guy high enough props. It was some of the best work I've ever seen. Then you got Sebastian Kris, who's not a fullback, completely outplayed. This wasn't even close. This was an 11 out of 10 performance. This was about a 6, and that could have been the difference, really. I thought Jermaine Asako was really good. Ewan Aiken was solid. Branko Lee was good in defence. Didn't really get much attacking stuff. Tessinu was good coming out of his own end. Katoa, I was really impressed with him. Sean O'Sullivan it was a pretty bad game. Just being honest. He had his good moments, but he got sin binned. He kicked the ball out on the full a few times. A couple bad decisions as well. It was a pretty poor performance. Jesse Bromwich was pretty average as well, not going to lie. But Jeremy Marshall-King was brilliant. He's such a good player. Jared Wallace, man, just playing damn good, man. I've never been a fan of him. I've always thought he was so... I was like, how is this guy not just playing Q-Cup? He's so average. Kafusi folded a couple dudes again, rattled a few ribs. Absolutely amazing. Jesse Bromwich was pretty good, got HOI. Tom Gilbert, I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. He is a gun, absolute gun. Really, really good. Kotrick was good. Sebastian Kris did what he can do, and I'm not going to be too harsh on him because it's not his position. Tomoka, he was not too bad as well. Harley, I don't know. I literally just can't even remember him doing anything, so that's not a good sign. This kid was actually pretty good. This Hopewadi, he was not too bad at all, replacing Rapana. Jack White, and I've already gone over him. I'm his biggest fan, but I'm probably his biggest critic as well. When your halves are there to make the right decision, it just seems to be it's so hard because he was probably the best guy on the park as well, but he was also one of the main reasons they lost the game. I don't know how that works, but it does. Jamal Fogarty was pretty solid, slotted a few really important goals, and I really like Harawira Naira. He was good. Tarpany solid as always. Hudson and Whitehead were pretty bad though. Not great at all. Corey Holsborough, solid, such a good player. So was Starling, really, really good. So, like I said, the Canberra Raiders probably outplayed them, but they didn't win the game. Storm Bulldogs, up the doggies, go the doggies. This was a hiding. Now, full disclosure, Storm were missing 7, 8 of their top players, but who said it? Matt Coop. I can't remember who said it, but they said you don't have to be Cameron Munster or Ryan Pappenhausen to make tackles, and they just missed tackles. That was the worst performance I've seen for them in a long time. And Doggies played good. Like, they weren't brilliant, they were just good. And I did a TikTok on this, and I said it was the best. So last week, Doggies played, and they were awful. They were the worst team last week. I don't care what anyone says, they were the worst team. They tried. I was really worried after watching last week's game that Cameron Ciraldo, who was Penrith's old assistant coach, was going to come in and try and copy and paste the way Penrith played at the Bulldogs, and I knew that wasn't going to work because they don't have the troops for that. They don't have the roster for that. But they tried to play real structured, and it was awful last week. This week they came in and played more like Parramatta did last year. They threw the ball around. They were offloading at will. They spread the ball early. They kicked early to corners with trying to get Addo-Carr out in the open, and just tried some stuff that you do. And I said this in my TikTok. I said people give Parramatta rubbish and all that sort of stuff. End of the day, they made the grand final last year. They beat Melbourne twice. They beat Penrith twice. They beat the Cowboys in the semis. Like, they did something right, and it was more ad lib footy. Just playing outside the structures a little bit, and it was so good to watch. Like I said, you can't take a huge amount away from it because it was a really understrength Melbourne team, but they were good. One possession, completion rate was good. All run meters, they got them there. Post contact was good too. Melbourne still won the ruck, but now this offloads should be definitely, like I said, Melbourne just were doing what the Bunnies did. They were just throwing the ball around in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, trying to score tries, just off nothing sort of thing. So, but they were winning this offload race by a mile. It was really solid performance. Look at that. In fact, when you won't see Melbourne down here too often, and you will not 49 missed tackles for Melbourne. Real poor. And Doggies weren't amazing. Like that, like I said, they were not as good at, like, they did what they needed to do, but they weren't. They missed plenty of tackles too. Plenty of errors. Plenty of penalties. Melbourne won the penalties, but still plenty of penalties. Stuff like that. So they definitely weren't perfect, but yeah. Reid Marnie was the best on the park for Doggies. He had a couple errors early, but just stuck it out. He was such a good player, man. Harry Grant was brilliant as well. Katoa was brilliant. Huge raps on Karaz. He was brilliant. Look at this. All the stats. Most run meters, most line breaks, most fantasy points. Old Karazi, the Prince of Belmore. He was brilliant. I got real high raps on him. Melbourne were not very good. Not very good. If we go through the team list, the heads-to-heads, Meaney, who had a really good game last week, went back to the player I thought he was. He was pretty damn average. And Warbrick was pretty average. Remy Smith, pretty average. Like, they were... Why is his picture so small? Oh, that's funny. Wishart, I'm sorry, he's just not Cam Munster. Who is... There's only one Cam Munster, but yeah, he did what he could, but he's just not Cam Munster. Big Nelson was pretty solid, but he blew his knee out, and we're going to have to wait and see how long he's out for. Harry Grant, brilliant. Kristen Welsh, I don't see the player he was. I just don't. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't look the same to me after, it was an ACL or an Achilles he did, and he's obviously just come back from that, but yeah, it was pretty bad. But going the Doggies, Hasparam, okay, did his job. Karaz was brilliant. Avarillo was pretty damn good. Alamotti was good. Addo-Carr was on fire, especially in the first half. Matt Burton, heaps better. I don't know if there's something wrong with him though, but I just don't feel like he's moving the way he did last year. He just doesn't look, he looks slower. Like, he almost looks he's a little overweight. And he tried to put a couple of those, like, he didn't put one of those bombs up last week. And this week, he put one up and it didn't have half the height it normally does. Kyle Flanagan was okay. Max Kim was okay. Reid Marnie was brilliant. Sutton was good. Kickow was way better than he was last week. He got pummeled last week. Mariner, huge fan of him. He was really good as well. Jacob Preston, second game, scored a try, heaps of energy. Real good contact. bang. He was just like, because he's not the biggest guy, he wasn't folding anyone, but he was good, man. I really, really liked what he did. Franklin Pele, I thought he brought a lot of energy off the bench as well. He was solid. But yeah, good performance for the Doggies, but would not get carried away. That was a B team, Storm team for sure. That was there was a lot of salary cap sitting on the sidelines. Now we get into these two. These were pretty rubbish games, guys. I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on them because all four of these teams were pretty damn awful. West Tigers, Knights. This game was just... Kalen Ponga got knocked out in the first tackle. The first tackle that the Knights made. So he was knocked out 50 seconds in. I don't know why he tackles upright with his chin up. I'm like, you're going to get knocked out if you tackle. I don't know if he's been taught how to tackle. It's so bad. Like, it is so bad. The way his tackling technique is... I actually think it's pretty reckless of Newcastle putting him back in that front line. Like, second rowers these days, which is the ones that are going to be running at you, are so big, tall, strong, athletic, and they're tall. So if they're taller than you, your head's going to be around their shoulders, elbows, you know what I mean? If you drop low, you're going to be right on the hip. For a guy that gets knocked out with a light breeze, that doesn't have great tackling technique, who's small, he's got to get out of there. He's got to play fullback. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that as well, but he was out cold. He got knocked out cold. It was really, really bad. And this game, Knights had a sin bin, a send-off, and had tons of errors, were putridly bad, and the Tigers couldn't crack them. That's how bad the Tigers were. Like, this team here wouldn't have beaten a New South Wales Cup team, and this team somehow lost to it. It was so, so bad. Look, more possession, more time in possession. But look at this, completes rate 64%. And like I said, the Knights weren't great. Like, they were at 74%. It's just so bad. So bad, guys. I don't even want to go through this too much, but effective tackles was good. They defended okay. I mean, they only had 14 points, but it was just... And Knights actually defended really good, especially when they were... This was the weird thing. So Knights had a player off a lot of the time. Tyson Fitzgerald was there, like, there was Sinbit, it was crazy. When the Knights were down a player, you know when normally a player's in the sin, but you can tell there's an overlap just about every... You know what I mean? Like, you can tell when the other team has a sin bin or a send-off. When the Tigers had 13 and the Knights had 12, it didn't even look like it. Like, there was no overlaps when they shifted. It was so bad, man. Like, Tigers... I don't know how the Tigers have bought marquee players and somehow gotten worse. They were worse than they were last year. So bad. Have a look at the players. Twali actually played... I was actually pretty impressed with him. I've been a bit hard on Twali over the years. I feel like, how is that dude in the NRL? You know, but he was all right. Laurie was pretty solid as well. He's a gifted player. I mean, I think his only weakness is he's not the biggest guy in the world, so he can get dragged back a bit and can't really help get the set rolling. But besides that, pretty great, really good. He's dangerous. He's a really good player. Really like Laurie. Lachlan Miller was good. We'll just go through the Tigers first. Laurie was good. Nofaluma was okay. Brett Naden, I've been real high on him lately, but I don't know. He did a couple really good things, but not great. Tommy, he got knocked out as well. Charlie Staines was okay. Limited things. Dewey was okay. Brooks was okay. Like, no one was putridly bad. Abu Carousel was just okay. Clemmer was okay. Papali'i was okay. Like, no one was terrible, but just no one was good. Like, not a single player here played good, other than Laurie gets probably just a pass mark, and maybe Twile gets just a pass mark. Everyone else was just slightly below average, or just average. It was just, I don't know. It's just so bad. One of the Saifidi brothers, which one was it? It was Jacob Saifidi, knocked out. Who was it? I think it was Jake Simpkins, or was it? Or I think it was Jake Simpkins. Real bad. Like, he was out cold. They brought the stretcher out and stuff like that. High contact with force. I would say Jacob's going to be having a big stint on the sideline. And they have the Dolphins next week, and Kalen Ponga, as I said earlier, got knocked out cold. So they're going to be without their 6, without, a State of Origin second rower. They're not looking good. They're not looking good. Dragons Titans. This game was hard on the eyes. It was weird because it was high scoring. There was a lot of tries, but I just could not watch it. I was just kept checking my phone. I'd look up and it was a cool try. It was just, I don't know. I couldn't tell either I couldn't tell if the Dragons were good or the Titans were bad. But it was just such a subpar game of footy from both teams. I just could barely watch it. It was damn average. We'll go through it quickly. Dragons were the better team, more possession, plenty more time in possession. Completed okay. All run meters. I mean, they dominated here post contact. They're going to win all the stats here, but just plenty of offloads. I mean, Titans got out to an early lead, and it was just, I don't know. It was just hard on the eyes. I mean, Dragons have Broncos next week. I think we'll see a different game. I think we'll see the Broncos get them pretty comfortably here, because I know this sort of stat line looks like Dragons were good, but I think, I don't think they were very good. It was pretty hard on the old eyes. But who was good? Sully was pretty good. Zach Lomax was okay. I don't know. It was pretty damn average. It was average. It's good to see Tyrell Sloan. He played pretty good. He had a shocker in the preseason, and but it was good to see everyone was writing Dragons off, because they, ripping on their team culture, no one rocking up to their post-season presentation and stuff like that, and but Sully was good, Lomax was good, Ravalawa, I was pretty impressed with him. It was a better game I've seen him play in a while. Ben Hunt was real good as always, you know what I mean, but just doing what a real good halfback does, just play awesome. Molo was okay, Embiid, I didn't really see him. Blake, probably the best game I've seen Blake Laurie play. He got a try, killed it, absolutely killed it. And Titans were just shoot. Brimson was okay. He was pretty solid. This kid here, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I'll get it very wrong. He was quick, real quick. Tino was solid, but not as up to his super high standards. I just thought he was a little bit off, but it was just a dud game to watch. It was so boring. It was just real hard on the eyes. And that's pretty much it, guys. We'll have a look. So Dolphins and Broncos up on top here. We've got some of the top teams down the bottom here. So the next 4 or 5 weeks are going to be pretty interesting. That's pretty much it for me, guys. But this week I'll drop a video on my 10K challenge that I'm doing. We're on to round 3 now. We've got our first 2 right. And I'll also drop a preview and all that sort of stuff as well, and obviously keep dropping shorts to keep up to date with all the little things that are going on in the league. And you guys are awesome. If you made it to the end, you're just an awesome person. Just know that. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.